You're listening to episode 26 of the Confident Rider podcast with Jane Pike. Hello, fabulous human. Welcome back to the Confident Rider podcast. I get a lot of emails and messages arriving in my inbox, and more than a good handful of those are from people with other equestrian businesses or riders who are wanting to know how it is they can grow in a professional capacity. Now, I'm all for collaboration and lifting each other up, and if there's one thing I know, it's that we need more amazing people out there like you, if you're one of these people doing their thing in the horse world. And your thing, it's not a lot of good to anyone if you don't put yourself out there. Trust me, I know what a tough gig that can be. I think having your own business and having horses is pretty much the best personal development program out there. But I don't want those of you who do have something to share in a professional capacity hiding behind the mounting block any longer. So I decided to bring someone in to help out. Today I'm talking with the very lovely Rhea Freeman to do exactly that, how to supercharge your business and get yourself out there. So here is our conversation all about that. I am here right now with the fabulous Rhea Freeman, who is my friend and also a country and equestrian business coach. Rhea is an amazing coach and super resource for riders looking to build their social media following, and also for equestrian and country businesses really wanting to rock it out there in the world. Thank you so much for joining me today, Rhea.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And that's not a bad introduction.
Pretty good, hey, pretty good.
Pretty good.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and fill in any gaps that I might have missed in that legendary intro?
I feel that was a really strong intro. I don't know how I'm going to follow that. Well, Jane's kind of said all the good bits. So I help small businesses, predominantly in the equestrian country sector, and I also help a lot of riders with their social media and kind of promoting themselves on a shoestring is kind of my thing. Mm-hmm. I also work with 2 universities and a college where I guest lecture. I do quite a lot of different things, and I run the Small and Supercharge group, the free one, and also a membership group called Small and Supercharge Mastermind, which is really cool. So I get to work with lots of small businesses and also lots of riders in my course and Facebook group called Social Supercharge Riders. I got here because not literally today, I just walked to the office, but I got here because I actually started working with horses properly when I went out of education and was an event groom, and I'm actually, sure my qualifications lapsed now, but I was actually a qualified riding instructor. I used to work in riding schools, used to school and ride other people's horses for them and teach lessons. But I was always really good at English at school, quite arrogant, but my grades would back that up.
Out there. Frankly, I was
absolutely
English too, just to add that to the mix.
Yeah, and that's great. But I always really enjoyed it, and I loved writing. So I got the opportunity to write for a magazine about now. I think it's probably training or stable management or something. And from that, I kind of got into PR because businesses saw what I was doing, and I was able to copyright well. And it just sort of got out of hand from there, really. And that was 15 years ago now. The whole out of hand thing got out of hand. In that time, I've worked for myself for a long time. I also worked as marketing manager for one of the biggest equestrian companies, definitely in England, possibly globally, big company, for 18 months as their marketing manager. But now I have the real privilege of working with some of my dream clients, dream brands in the equestrian country space. I also work with some incredible riders, including some at the very top of their game. And also, I love lecturing, which I get to do as a guest at a couple of universities too. So it's all good. That was really long. Sorry, really long.
No, fabulous. I love detail. I'm the girl for the detail. So there's 2 things within the magnificent set of everything you're able to offer that I wanted to talk about, because one of the messages that ping into my inbox regularly are from other people who are starting their own equestrian business or who have started their own equestrian business or country business and are struggling a little bit and are wondering how to get it all going on, basically. So how to negotiate social media, like what it is that they need. And I think when you start out, it can be overwhelming considering social media as a whole. So if we were to take it from the top and consider these types of messages, what do you, in your opinion, seems to be like the important things to consider when you're getting started and putting yourself out there?
I think, well, the first thing is you've just got to start. Mm-hmm. Like we worry so much about, is it the right place? Is it this? Is it that? And obviously there are kind of, I'm talking about in the large sense of the word, and you can probably do it in a completely wrong way. But if you kind of go, I don't know what to do, Facebook, Instagram, this, that, the other, just pick one. If you've made the wrong choice, at least you're doing something.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is actually transferable between the two, well, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Mm-hmm. In terms of if you're looking at what social media platforms to start on, you want to think about your demographic. So who is interested in what you're going to talk about? Because each of the social media platforms have got key demographics in terms of who uses them, their age range, male, female split, loads of different things. So you can look at those and have your kind of best guess. Mm-hmm. Also, which platform you understand the most, because I think like a lot of people's target market has a crossover with them. And if they are really, really proficient on Facebook and they really get Facebook and they love Facebook, but they've decided they have to be on Instagram, like really make sure that's the right choice. Don't feel you have to do it because it's the current trend. You know, is it Instagram now? Instagram and Facebook are the two that I always recommend for people, just because the sheer size of the following on, mm-hmm. the sheer size of the monthly active users on each is really considerable.
Yeah.
But, maybe you're stressing you should also be on TikTok and Snapchat and Twitter, and you could list the social media platforms. Don't get bogged down in it. Each one has got a specific skill set. So pick one and just start, and accept that when you start, you're probably going to be a bit rubbish at it. But that's just part of it. You're not going to start, you can do all the courses, you can watch all the YouTube videos, you can do all the reading. But I think, as we all know with everything, the theory of something is brilliant. But when you start to apply it, it's different. Mm-hmm. The theory is really strong and it's important to have that grounding. Mm-hmm. But the way you get that kind of real life experience is by doing it. And you just accept that when you start, it's not going to be perfect, but at least you've started and you're lapping everybody else. So I think pick one thing and have a go and take it seriously, be consistent, show up, look to improve, like really take it on as a project. Mm-hmm. And be prepared that it's going to take a while. These things don't just happen overnight. You don't go, oh, right, I want to be an Instagram sensation, snap my fingers and I'm there. Mm-hmm. You have to keep showing up. Even when you don't think anyone's watching, you have to keep going.
That consistency, I think, is key. Like really what is kind of a fascination to me is, and I don't know if this comes from the culture of social media generally, but it is a slow burning game to really create a business that's sustainable, and you need to be able to show up on a regular basis for a considerable amount of time, almost before you can expect anything back, I think. Like it's like what the focus is the other way around to perhaps where we start, where we think about how are we going to get people in, how can we do this? And actually it's more about what can I give people first? Like that was definitely what helped me think about things in a more objective way.
Gary Vaynerchuk, if you're a bit of a self-development geek like my good self, he has got a book which I have got behind me called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Mm-hmm. And it's not about boxing, but the jabbing is the small things that you're doing, and the right hook is when you would like land the sale or you make your big ask. Mm-hmm. But as the title says, there's a lot more jabs there than right hooks, and we need to give a lot more than we take on social. It's not about buy this, do this, do this, do this. It's, well, what can I give? How can I help?
Yeah.
And actually, the best form of advertising, because you're showing your expertise, you're helping people, but you're doing it in a way that it supports your knowledge and shows your kind of zone of genius or whatever you call it, but it's in a way that's really helpful to your community. Mm-hmm. And that's only serve you well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, when it comes to the mindset of it as well, because this is such an important element that catches people out, what I see is all of these amazing people and products and ideas, and they're afraid to put themselves out there or to really show what it is that they've got. So in terms of visibility, and I know that we've touched on this in what it is that you just said, like what do you consider to be really important aspects of that side of things? Like, is video really important, or is it okay to stick with just the written medium, or what do you recommend people get into?
Well, video, any kind of, and if you're boring like my good self and look at all the kind of stats and reports and predictions, video is on like a massive climb, and it's due to be, I'm not going to quote the stats because I'm going to get it wrong, but it's, I think, in 2 years' time, it's like, okay, I'm going to try with the stats. It's on 80% or something of online, how did they word it? Sort of the media you consume online could well be video. I feel like I've really botched that figure, but it's a phenomenal amount. When you look at it, you think, wow. But actually, if you think about it a little bit deeper, the hours, the watch time and things on things like YouTube are just insane. The amount of hours of footage that people upload, the amount they watch is insane. Facebook videos, because you can have them natively and they beautifully autoplay, and you can have subtitles on. I'll get sucked into a Facebook video much more than I will. A Facebook video is likely to stop me scrolling much more than like a text post. They don't even really figure on my scrolling brain. A nice image will make me stop. But I think showing up and getting your face out there, especially if you are, say, a personal brand, but I think there's just such an overlap now. But if you're a brand selling something and you're the one, it's your voice behind it, you're not part of a massive company and the company's got its own voice. You're a small business. You need to get your actual self out there, like your actual face, your actual voice, your actual image on pictures. And video is really important. Getting your face out there is really, really important. And I know that for some, it's a massive thing to do that. And I have to say, I hate having my picture taken. And I'm not massively confident on video. I just do it because I know it's important. I can happily pull my appearance apart for days, but it's not going to help anybody. And whilst I think I should have done X, Y, and Z, and I really need to sleep more, and I really need some eye cream, I need to work out how to use makeup, I don't think anyone else thinks that. And more than that, the people who are my people doesn't even figure on their agenda. Yeah. And that's all I'm after.
It's interesting because when I started, I had this idea of what it meant and looked like to be professional, and I didn't have myself anywhere on my stuff. Like, for me, it was like this facade of what I thought people wanted to see. This is years and years ago. And now I don't even know how I came up with content or connected with people through that medium, because it's all about documenting and sharing my journey and where it is I'm at and how that relates to my business also. And that connection is key, I think, because people need to know who you are and what it is, who it is they're buying from, and, and be attached to that as much as perhaps what it is that you're offering.
And I think it also allows people the chance to connect with you on a different level. Yeah. So I did a podcast a few weeks ago about how to kind of juggle it all. And I didn't want to do it because I'm really not an authority on this. I'm just winging it like the rest of us. I have got, some days go well and I don't quite know what's happened, and other days it's just a disaster. But I shared some of my tips on this podcast, stuff that I feel has helped me. And I've had people like asking me about slow cooker recipes, because one of my things was, like meal planning, because it just like eases the pressure on you. And I love the slow cooker. It's like my best friend. And I have people connecting with me about slow cooker recipes, which I love because it really is a game changer.
I feel like I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God, listen to that. But if I was worried about showing me and my slightly dysfunctional life, I wouldn't have shared that. And actually, not only has it been quite fun to have people going, oh, I'm going to try it, what should I do? I've had people tagging me in pictures of their slow cooker, not even joking, which I flipping love, but it's actually made a real difference to them.
Yeah.
And made them feel like, actually, if they make a few little changes, it's not going to, putting food in a slow cooker isn't going to like change the world, but it might actually help with their life.
I disagree. I think putting things in a slow cooker can change your world. If at the end of the day you have dinner, that is something phenomenal. It's interesting though, because we have this deluded idea or create this deluded idea about ourselves when we see other people, in inverted commas, doing what it is that we'd like to be doing or are doing, that somehow everything's going great for them and it's super easy and they've got it all together and we haven't. And I know I'll link to the podcast that you mentioned as well in the show notes, but I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about returning to riding after having a baby. And I talked with 2 friends of mine who've had babies and have been kind of negotiating that territory, and just how hard it is. Like, it's really hard. Like, it's hard even when they're young, let alone when they're a baby. And as mothers and women, we can get this delusional idea that we're the only ones that feel this way. And I think with what you described with business, like just recognizing that no way, like we are all in the same boat. Like, this is tough for all of us. And this is how I'm kind of moving my way through this. That's a real liberation in and of itself.
It is, but I think as well, when you're trying to put yourself out there and feeling that kind of fear, you think, oh, what if people don't think I know what I'm doing? Well, to be honest, people think I don't know what I'm doing about life. Like, I'm all right with that. Yeah. I know what my skills are. And I think that anyone you speak to who's a parent, who's got all the plates spinning, they're in the same boat. Yeah. And by just sharing that and going, yeah, it's really hard, isn't it? Everyone kind of goes, it really is. Yeah. Now, let's crack on. Rather than, there must be a magical trick I'm missing because, everyone else finds it so easy. No.
Yeah. And I think that as a business, I feel quite passionate about this, or just as a human being, like, we have a responsibility as well to share the reality of the situation, because when all of us are constantly perpetuating this false idea about what's going on, then we do sort of turn in on ourselves, with women that perhaps you have these beautiful Instagram feeds and the children are all looking perfect and dinner's Instagram worthy, and then they say that they don't have help behind the scenes. It's like, really? Like, is that actually what's going on? And I know that's a sort of a slightly paralleled example, but the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've seen these pictures before and I thought, I've seen pictures before, people who've got immaculately dressed little boys in like white, and I know you've got little boys as well, but honestly, my kids can, between the car and the house, they can just attract the world of mud, and I don't even know how it's happened sometimes. I get them to nursery, I'm like, how are you that dirty?
I actually messaged my littlest boy's kindy teacher or nursery teacher and said, I do try to put him in a different pair of pants each morning, but he insists on wearing these unicorn trousers that we bought him. we don't have any problem with toxic masculinity in our household. He insists on wearing these unicorn pants every day, and literally, unless I manage to like snaffle them off him at night and put them in the wash, they are rolling out on a fairly consistent basis. And I just wanted her to know he does have other clothes. I have tried to get other clothes on him, but it hasn't worked so far.
Although if I had unicorn trousers, I probably would just wear them all the time.
Feeling it as well. Yeah. Yeah, they do have like a glittery horn as well, which seals the deal for me. Yeah.
Right, we need pictures of those, please.
There'll be pictures abounding. I will get pictures. I'll see if he will model them. Yeah.
Perfect. That'd be brilliant. Thank you. I look forward to that.
How did I get onto unicorn pants? Anyway.
How could you not? It'd been a disservice to everybody if you hadn't.
So true. So switching around then, because you have a new course or relatively new course out called Social Supercharge for riders. And I have a lot of riders that I work with, both professional and aspiring competitive riders, who are wanting to make riding their thing, or more of their thing. And I think we really can't deny the power of the internet and social media, all that side of things, in not only establishing credibility, but maybe when it comes to looking for brand sponsorships or owners, or, creating partnerships that really allow you to do what you love and make money at the same time. Is that what this course is about? Or can you tell us a little bit about that and speak to that?
Yeah, I think you've summed it up quite well, really. So the whole point of the course is to help riders kind of attract what they want from social media. Mm-hmm. But in doing, I think this is the tricky thing, and people are like, oh, what does it do? Does it just tell you how to use social media? Well, kind of not and kind of, as in it's broken into 3 sections. The first one's all about content ideas. So we look really closely at some ideas, and I mean some, there's a lot, it's a significant section of different ways that you can create content when you're on the go, things that you can do, ways you can document what you're doing, and just getting people into a different kind of frame of mind as to how they can contribute to the social media conversation, because so many of the riders I work with are really busy. Like, I've never known a rider that isn't busy. And I'm going, well, I don't have time to do it. Well, everyone has got time to do stuff that they need to do. And I really see in my business, social media is a non-negotiable. Like, it is the best marketing activity I do. And if you are wanting to attract anything from social media, whether you want to build your own personal brand, sponsorships, brand ambassadorships, even owners, if you're at that level, you need to put the time into marketing yourself and getting yourself out there. And riders are generally, there are some amazing examples who are absolutely nailing it, but generally this is not a strong area for riders. But what I am really keen to show through the course is that not only can it be a strong area, not only will it really help you attract whatever you want to from social media, but it's so achievable and so doable. And I feel like this is a kind of blueprint for how to do it. So there's lots of content ideas, there's lots of ways that you can then use that content, really specific. And then also ways that you can kind of boost it even more and really make what you do work really hard for you. And it's really good. It's I'm really proud of it. I would be, obviously. But I've had people who have gone on the course and have, within days of doing it, said, actually, I've tried something different and I'm now working with brands that I love. And that genuinely happened. It was someone who'd been using products, loves the products that they're using, and just started doing a few of the things that we discussed in the course. And now they're working with them in a more formal way because the foundation blocks were in place. They loved the products, and that's like something I talk about in the course as well. They were doing they were kind of, all the stepping stones were there, but the course was the thing that actually linked them all together and made it work for them. Because I know with my brand hat on, because obviously I work with small businesses as well as riders, the brands I work with get so many messages, like DMs particularly, will you sponsor me? Will you sponsor me? Will you sponsor me? And it drives me mad, because if you actually click on their account, there is nothing sponsor worthy there. There is nothing brand ambassador worthy there. They have got, the size of following is obviously something that one looks at because you just do. But when you look at the engagement, the quality of the imagery, the captions, the consistency, there's nothing there that's investable. And it makes me sad, really, because you think that some of these people could have amazing potential. They're just shafting themselves whenever they possibly can. And I'm actually just adding another section now about how to approach brands to work with them and what brands look for, as in speaking to some of the brands that I work with and getting that inside scoop. Because when you've got all these things in place, it's also that confidence to go, actually, I've got something really good here. This is how we could work together. This is what I'm proposing to do. And coming up with actually a plan, because brands don't work with brands don't work with riders just for kicks. Yeah. Like they need something back from it. Yeah. And if you've got, absolutely. Yeah. And if you've got a horse that you think is going to go places, you're not just going to give it to any random rider. You're going to give it to somebody who's showing what you want. And hopefully the course helps to link all that together. I mean, it has done, it has proven itself, but that's what the whole course is about, really, because I think that it's such an untapped resource there. I think it's one that as riders, we need to really up our game.
Yeah, and it's interesting, just thinking of things from the other side of the coin, like you say, with businesses. I have been approached for sponsorships many, many times, but also I know friends of mine with more product-based businesses get approached as well. And I think that there can be this idea of unlimited resources coming from the business side, but often, if you're not part of a big company and you are a small business, the bottom line can be fairly narrow between, profit and what it is that you're putting in. And there is actually a significant investment on the side of the business to be able to support a rider and give them either free products or discounted products, and coming from the position of what is it that I can offer this person as opposed to what is it that they're going to give me is is really important, I think, and respectful of the amount of time and energy that goes on from the other side too. It's such a valuable conversation. So if there is say there's a rider out there listening right now, what do you consider to be the non-negotiable elements of getting started in this area? Do they need a website? Do they need just social media? Like, what's your opinion?
I'd love them to have a website and I'd love them to have social media. I say this because we don't own social media. I'm not Mark Zuckerberg, sadly. I'm not.
Happily.
Oh, happily, yeah, whichever way you want to look at it. And if you're listening, Mark, well done you.
Yes.
He probably isn't listening, but...
Absolute respect. Oh, no doubt he does listen to this podcast, Rhea. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Screenshot us, Mark. Call in next time. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll happily chat. But if they change it, if Facebook changes their algorithm, if Instagram puts some random thing in place that means that our content gets like no reach or less reach, and we don't have our own online hub, I feel that's quite a vulnerable position, especially as a business. Mm-hmm. If you're a business, yes, please, God, have a website. Please get a website. It doesn't have anything fancy. It can be a free WordPress website on a free template that you customize, but get your own online home, your own online hub. If you're a rider, I'd also like you to have your own website, but it can be like a really basic one-page free WordPress website with just who you are, what you do, horses, sponsors, social links. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be big or expensive at all, and I'm really not an advocate for that, especially if you don't need it to be. If you've got a big e-commerce platform and things like that, and it really matters that your website works and it has to have an amazing user experience, etc., obviously put the money towards it. But for a lot of people, especially people starting out, you can do a lot for free.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be when I started that websites were like thousands of dollars.
And now a website that fully functions. Exactly. Yeah, no, it used to be like crazy money. I mean, my website's built on a WordPress template. Admittedly, I did pay for someone to customize it. But actually now, with what I know now, I could do not as good a job, but a decent job. And I think the template was like $65 or something. It was not silly money.
It's very doable.
It's really doable. So I would definitely recommend getting a website, even just like a basic one. Mm-hmm. But then social media, you've just got to be in that. You've got to be in the arena. Mm-hmm. And I basically recommend to everybody Facebook and Instagram because they are the biggest. If you're really into obviously like vlogging and videos, YouTube as well is a serious consideration. And there are lots of other social media platforms. And if, as we said at the start, your demographic perfectly matches, if you've got a younger audience, then maybe Snapchat's one that you really need to focus on or really concentrate in on. But generally a lot of people in a lot of the demographics, a lot of the groups are on both Facebook and Instagram. In a perfect world, I'd go for those three. But then just, deflect your energy between the three. I mean, you can spend a few hours on getting yourself a basic website. And to be honest, if you're not into it and that's not something you want to put a lot of energy into, at least you've got it there. Mm-hmm. And then you can work on the stuff that you are happy to work on. But at least if you've got the links from your website to your social media platforms, you're helping to kind of fuel that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could I know from experience that when I started out, it can be super overwhelming to think of how to create content for all of those platforms. But you do get into your groove after a while, and the more ideas you think of, and it becomes quite the practice and the habit to put it out there. But as well, like you say, you can cross-pollinate between a lot of platforms. So you don't have to make 3 videos. Like you can use one video that will go on each of those places. And so it's sort of getting smart about how you're producing content as well, as opposed to thinking you need to be sort of chained to the machine.
Definitely, and repurposing as well. You say what you can put one video in 3 different places. Mm-hmm. I probably just stagger the release times. That's what I would do. Or you could chop your video into small bits as well and have like little micro videos. It could go on things like Instagram stories, but have the longer thing in IGTV and also post that on Facebook. And it's the same content. Mm-hmm. It's just you presented it in the native way on each of the platforms at a slightly different time.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. That's so interesting. So if people are like, oh my goodness, I need to get more Rhea Freeman action for my business, or I want to do the social Supercharge course, where can they find you?
Well, my website is rheafreemanpr.co.uk, and on there's a work with me one, and in there's the social Supercharge riders. But probably the easiest thing to do is DM me. I'm on Instagram. I'm at Rhea Freeman PR. That's probably the best place because DMs we seem to work so much better than Facebook messages on pages. I don't know if you feel the same, but
yes, it's a little clunky.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, that's interesting. But so I'd probably DM me there or email me Rhea at rheafreemanpr.co.uk. There's also the free Small and Supercharged group, which riders as well as businesses can join. So if you just search Small and Supercharged, I'm usually hanging out there. So that's a good place to join too.
Perfect. And I can link to all of these places in the show notes as well and repeat them for you afterwards. So thank you so much, Rhea. That was fabulous.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Such a fun time, unicorn pants and all. Those links again for you. If you want to catch Rhea, you can find her at rheafreemanpr.co.uk. That's RHEA Freeman, FREEMAN, PR.co.uk, or in her Small and Supercharged Facebook group. If it's me you're after, my website is confidentrider.online and all of the details about Joyride, my online program, are there also. Thank you again for hanging out. I'm looking forward to chattering again with you next week, so I'll catch you on the flip side.